Okay, so what we can do is actually finish this off now, do some tweaks and just play around with it and just try and get it looking really cool. And so one thing we can do with this skin texture here is if we go up to specular, if you want to, you can play around with some of the roughness here. Now we've got it at 1, which means no specularity, but if you bring it down, you can add a bit of shininess to it. Like 0, it just makes them look totally glossy. There you go, a bit gooey if you want that kind of look, and or you just kind of bring it up a little bit. And so let's say -6, or not -6 but 0.6, so there's just a little bit of gloss to his skin but not too much. And so that's the difference from 1 to zero point 0.6. Now it makes him look a bit brighter, which I'm not keen on, so I'm just going to put it back to 1, to be honest with you, but I just wanted to show you that's the option you can do. And when you use the subsurface, it actually nullifies the base color here, has no effect. So, you know, if you play around with the color here, it just has no effect. Right, just so you know that. Right, okay, so this is what we have so far. And I want to get rid of these old photos now. And save this one. So this is the current photo. Okay, so this is what we have, and what else can we do? Well, we can actually just play around with some of the lighting, maybe make it look a bit better. And so let's do that. And so, boom, 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 what can we do? Well, let's first of all just take a look at this again, and maybe add a bit of backlighting, and just see what happens. And so what we can do is go to Arnold Lights, and we have an area light. And let's make it bigger. Let's bring it up like that. Obviously it's facing the wrong way. We can just spin it round. There we go. Maybe we can make this area light even bigger. And let's just put it at an angle just to make it a bit more interesting. There we go. Maybe just tilt it to the side a little bit. Bring it to the side. And we can call this the backlight, and let's just see what happens with it. I'm gonna make it even longer and just bring it down a bit more. Tilt it maybe a bit more. Yeah, maybe make it even wider. There we go. Alright, okay, so let's hit render and let's see if it does anything. And in the moment it hasn't done anything because the intensity and the exposure are too low, basically. And so boom, 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 we can play around with it. Now the color, yeah, we can add a bit of color to it as well, actually. Let's take a look. Maybe a bit of yellow. So okay, now we don't see anything at the minute, so we got intensity 1, exposure of 0. Let's do exposure of 20, and boom, there you go, way too bright, as you can see. Way, way, way too bright. Let's just wait for it to finish rendering. We'll save a snapshot of it anyway, just for reference. And boom, 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 boom. There we go. Boom. And let's dial this down to 15. And it's more or less disappeared. So anywhere between 15 and 20. So 16. We're starting to see a little bit, as you can see, around the edge of the eyes. Not bad, not bad. And maybe just a bit more. Let's do 17. We'll save this first. There we go, that's the 16. We'll do the 17. Okay, so 16, you can't see that much light on the ground, which is good. And 17, it's much more illuminated. And we've got a bit more around the eyes. There we go. And what we can do is play around with the position of the light. So maybe we can kind of just bring it up a little bit more. Boom, boom, boom. Let's have a look. R for scale. Come on, R, and maybe just make this bigger. Yeah. Alright, so, you know, when you're moving the light around in the scene, you've got to wait for the renderer to catch up with it, so it does slow down just a little bit. And, there we go. What else can we do? I may want to just kind of move this at an angle a bit more. So it's coming from the side a bit. Yeah, why not? And as you can see with the light here, it's actually touching the background, which I don't like it when that happens. And so it causes like an abrupt line in the render. So I'm just going to lift it up a little bit, like that. And just wait for the rendering to finish. Okie doke, and so let's just spin this around just a bit more to the side to create a bit more side lighting. I think would be a bit more interesting. So it's coming in from one side. As you can see, you can start seeing some of the light now bleeding through along the side of the character here. Let's take a look. There, it's touching the background a little bit, which I don't like, so I'm just going to lift it up a bit more. There we go. Alright, I'm going to save that snapshot. I'm going to get rid of these older ones. So, boom, boom. And then with the exposure, maybe 17.5. And if you want to, you can click on this ratio 1:1, boom, so you get to see like a closer look at the image. And so that's not too bad. Not too bad. And maybe do an 18. Let's have a look. Yeah, we're getting a bit more bleed there, which is looking good. Let's have a look. Just bring it back a little bit and do 1:1 again. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Not bad. I'm going to save the snapshot. I'm going to delete the old one now. So this is where we're at the minute, and I'm pretty much happy with it. And then we can add one more light from the front. So Control D. So we're going to copy this light here and just bring it here and spin it around, kind of like that. And I'm going to bring it back a bit. Just going to go to object mode. There we go. Maybe something like this. I'm going to tilt it. That's it. Put the rotate tool into object mode as well. Just kind of bring it back a bit. Maybe make it a bit bigger. Make it come from the side a bit more. And just see what happens with this setup here. And yeah. So let's take a look. So this is what we've got so far, right? And so hit render, and it's done the perspective view, and that is because I forgot to activate the camera one. And so let's stop it and then render it again, and it's still rendering perspective because now it's locked in. It says perspective, so you've got to select this little drop down menu and go to camera shape 1, and there you have it. Okay, so this is what the extra light is doing it, and it's making it much brighter. There we go. Okie doke. Not bad. So that's what it was before, and that's what it is now. So you've got a lot of brightness to it. Might be a bit too much with the brightness, so the exposure, I'm going to save this. Let's bring it down to 16 and see what happens. So that's 18, and that's without the front light. And this is with it with 16. And so I'm going to save that, so that's 16. And I'm going to bump it up to 17 actually. There we go. Alright, so let's have a look. This is no longer the back light, this is now the front light, and this is the back light. Okay, back to the back light. I think 18 may be a bit too much, and I want to just select the eyeball here, and I want to bring it down to 17.5. Not much of a difference. Let's do 17. Let's hold down shift and it allows you to draw a render region. There you go. Got a light there. Boom. Let's do the whole thing. Okay, I would say that is fine, and so I'm happy with that. And so what we need to do now is work on the quality, because as you can see it's all grainy and stuff, and so I will see you next video.